Hi and welcome to OwnerRez. In this video, we'll cover how to set the minimum night rules for your property and how to adjust them based on the season or specific nights. We'll also show how the minimum nights show up on the hosted website and how to override them on quotes if you need for a specific guest. Let's start by setting the minimum night rule for your property at the property level. Start by selecting properties on the bottom far left of your menu bar. Select the property you would like to edit, and then select Rules. Next, click the pencil icon next to Stay Restrictions to make changes. Here you can see that the default minimum nights rule is currently set to 2. You can also set the default minimum nights for holidays and specify exactly which holidays by clicking the link here. Additionally, you can set the default minimum nights for weekends, which applies to Friday and Saturday nights, and you can also choose to configure different minimum night rules during gaps. To view the gaps between bookings, click on the Bookings tab. Here we can see that we currently have a 3-night gap between these two bookings. Let's say, for example, that we have the minimum nights rule for this property set to 4 nights. With this in place, the dates would be blocked on your calendar and a guest would not be able to book during this period. If we wanted to automatically make an exception to this rule in order to maximize the bookable nights for this property, we can head back to Properties, select the property, select Rules, click the pencil next to Stay Restrictions, and then Custom During Gaps. On this pop-up, we can choose between Allow a booking that fills the entire gap at least, which allows you to set a hard limit on the minimum nights you would allow, and then adjust your minimum nights rule to match the length of the gap, and use this minimum instead. This simply activates a new minimum night rule if there's a gap between 2 bookings that's shorter than the default minimum you currently have in place. This is useful if you'd like the minimum nights to be different during a gap time, but don't care if the entire gap is filled. The default minimum rules that you configure here will be applied to your entire calendar unless you have a season or spot rate in place that is different. Inside of OwnerRez, if you change the minimum night rules using a season, that will override the property rule. And if you change the minimum night rules using a spot rate, that will override both the season and property rules. Let's say you have a season that occurs every year with a minimum night rule that is higher than your default of 2, like a ski season or summer beach season. Instead of changing your default, you can utilize seasons inside of OwnerRez to change the minimum night rule for only those specific dates. To do so, select Settings on the bottom far left of your menu bar, select Seasons underneath Pricing, and then choose Create Season. For this example, let's say you'd like to increase your minimum night rule to account for the increased demand for your property from January 1st through February 28th for ski season. We'll call this new season Ski Season. We'll set the type as reoccurring since it happens every year. And then for the criteria, we'll set it for January 1st through February 28th. And then we'll scroll down to length restrictions. For this example, we'll set our new minimum nights rule to 4. You can also choose to set a new minimum weekend night and gap night rule as well. Once finished, select Save. Now that we've got our season set up, let's go take a look at our changes on our hosted website. From here, we'll select Properties, select the property we'd like to test, and then let's try to book a 2-night stay from February 15th through 17th. And here we'll be given a message that says a minimum of 4 nights is required for this booking. If we go back and change the departure date to the 19th, you'll see that the message has gone away and we've been given a quote since we've met the 4-night requirement for this season. Now let's say that you want to set a different minimum night restriction for a specific set of dates, for example, a big concert or festival coming to your city. A great way to do this inside of OwnerRez is through spot rates. Let's go back to OwnerRez and set up a spot rate. To set up a spot rate, select Settings, Rates, select the property, and then choose the dates you would like to change. For this example, we'll select the 15th through the 21st. Now that we've got these dates selected, select Set Rules, Minimum Nights, and then from here, we'll set the custom rule for these nights as 7. Once you're done, select Update. Just remember that inside of OwnerRez, the spot rates overrule seasons, and that seasons overrule the property rules. Lastly, if you have a unique situation, you can always create a special quote that will overwrite the minimum nights that you have set. To do so, select Quotes on your left menu bar, create quote, choose the property for this quote, choose the arrival and departure date, and here you'll be presented with a message that says a minimum of 7 nights is required. To override this rule, just select Create Quote, select Save. You'll be given one more message above, and if you'd like to override these rules, just select Save one more time. For more information on rules, please visit us at OwnerRez.com/support. Thanks for choosing OwnerRez.